It's our Thursday edition of the program Frontier Opening Bell for the 15th of July 2021. Welcome to the show. I'm Temple Ashaju. Bosun Omofaye, our executive editor here at Frontier Africa Reports. Bosun, thank you for joining us again this morning.
Good
Now let's
morning.
look at the indices we follow here at Frontier Africa Reports. The NGX, Nigerian Exchange, was positive midweek by 0.04%. BRVM Stock Exchange up by 0.97%. Egyptian Exchange in Cairo was positive, leaped by 1.63% midweek. Nairobi Securities Exchange was also high, up northwards 0.75%, and the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, in spite of all of the unrest going on in the country, was positive, leaped by 1.21%. All the markets we track here at Frontier Africa Reports were actually in green yesterday. Impressive, quite impressive. Let's move on to the Eastern African headlines. And of course, we have the IMF International Monetary Fund pausing funding to pause funding to Kenya if 3 months average inflation crosses the central bank of Kenya's targets. Kenya Central Bank wants law to regulate digital lenders. Kenya Airways launch Book Now, Pay Later service. EU-Rwanda discuss 6-year cooperative roadmap, something to help the economy of that Eastern African country, isn't it, Bosun?
Yes, Temple, you can book now, pay later. That book now, pay later is just one way of by Kenya Airways of trying to get customers and clientele because flights around the world hasn't really been back up to speed where it used to be. So Kenya Airways looking at the downside of things in which you have a whole lot of folks being constrained by finance. By the way, a lot of folks are constrained by the pandemic. But if you can book now and the airline can ensure that you can pay later, oh, fine. Why not? If you can defer payment by a week or two, maybe a month, and they can find a way to be sure that you're going to pay later, then they'll be sure to remain in business in the manner of speaking. So it's a very difficult time right now for airlines around the world, and it's not really looking as good as it was the good old days in the manner of speaking. So this looks like a little bit of a new normal. When the old normalcy will return, we're not sure. No one knows tomorrow. The regulators, as we discussed before, are looking to regulate digital lenders. Temple Uganda has just taken over that for mobile money service operators in the country. Nigeria's central bank just issued a regulatory framework for mobile money operators in Nigeria. Kenya now wants the kind of law or regulation that will allow it to laws that will empower it to regulate digital lenders beyond the traditional banking and non-bank financial institutions. So it's a very interesting time right now because, as I said, we said earlier, look, if you are anything to do with somebody's money or with money in the system, then you've got to come under the central bank. Nobody's going to let you play anything without regulatory oversight. Kenya is looking at the end of the barrel right now if inflation goes beyond the target set by Njoroge's central bank. So average 3-month average inflation should not go beyond target. If that happens, then the IMF is going to press the pause button on the whole extended facility window that has been given to this East African largest economy, Temple.
Thank you very much, Bosun. Now let's touch on the West African and Nigerian markets. Government looks to complete Lekki port operations mid-2022. The Bureau of Public Enterprise says TCN management for concession, no outright sale. Stop rate dips 0.48% on 364-day NTB at CBN auction. The ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development has earmarked 40.3 billion CFA franc for Benin, Burkina Faso, and Cote d'Ivoire's projects. In Senegal, BNDE gets 7.9 billion CFA franc credit for SMEs. Bosun, you got these headlines to deal with for us. What is changing specifically in the Lekki port operations, giving us this or renewing this mid-2022 delivery dates?
Yeah, because it's taking time, Tempo. The whole LFT Z Lagos free trade zone is taking a whole lot of time. Now they're getting the what you call the marching order to complete it and get it up and running. Because again, look, we need to do a whole lot within strategic economic place in Nigeria and begin to ramp up on the economy, create jobs, create windows of opportunities for local raw materials in agriculture and a few others, and trade. If we don't, then we're going to be left looking at the bottom of the barrel when everybody would have taken the liquid, the rest of the juice out of the bottle. So we need to Nigeria needs to do this very, very quickly. Then, of course, the whole TCN management thing, the government is trying to be clever and smart at the same time here. The TCN, the government does not want to let go of a very particular transmission company of Nigeria. And that is the TCN is the midstream aspect of the power sector. So government believes it's very crucial. That's where you look at the downstream sector is where you have the discos and the power distribution companies. Government has a bit of shares in that. Then the upstream sectors where you have the gas producers and the gencos. So government doesn't want to let go of this monopoly, which TCN currently is in there, which is the national grid. Whoever controls the national grid controls everything. A whole lot of reforms still need to take place within the Nigeria's power sector, Tempo, and you'll agree with me. Because government doesn't want an outright sale, but wants to concession the management of TCN to someone else, or to whoever is going to be, whether it's going to be local players or international or global or overseas, we don't know yet. A lot of critical decisions have to be made very quickly, and government needs to put politics aside and deal with this very serious economic issue, which is the power generation, distribution, power energy sustainability in Nigeria. We spent our lifetime and a lifetime of our parents and grandparents' temple walking around and trying to find our way in the dark. It's quite unfortunate that this particular source is hampering the healthcare, water, air industrialization, agriculture, agro-industrialization. The price of cement, for example, in Nigeria, if you take the cost of electricity out of what the cement producers are making, Tempo, you will get cement prices far, far, far lower than what we have it right now, for example, to take just one industrial goods item. So that's very important. The stop rate yesterday by about 0.5% down for the 364-day bill by the central bank. I think a yield is down on that. The regulator is looking at how it's going to balance his books. Rate stayed unchanged for the 90-day and 90-day and 180-day papers. This is slightly down, still around 8%, by the way. Well, it's below inflation, very well, but then that's what the market is providing right now. The EBID, Tempo, I'm interested in this because the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development is funding projects in Burkina Faso, in Benin Republic. This particular special bank, or DFI, has been very, very active in recent times, Tempo, and we're reporting that regularly as we get the news, that everyone keep an eye on it. Development is not just within Nigeria. It's taking place massively across the West Africa. And you'll be surprised what your neighbors are doing. You need to keep an eye on them, as I always say, Tempo.
True. Thank you very much, Bosin, for all of those analyses. Now let's cross to the South African markets, where ABSA is expecting the sub-Saharan African economy to grow by 3.2% in 2021. Unilever South Africa suspends advert campaign amid looting. Standard Bank replaces Mozambique chief executive officer after $4.6 million fine. In Zimbabwe, Lafarge revenue was up by 68.5% to 6.9 billion Zimbabwean dollars for the year 2020. Lucara Diamond signs $220 million loan for Karowe mine expansion. Boson, do you think ABSA's projection is rather optimistic or too ambitious given the resurgence of COVID-19 that we're seeing in 2021?
Well, on the surface, that's what it looks like. But Tempo, if you look at the African continent right now, there are a few countries that are leading the footprints in terms of the virus and things and the pandemic, generally speaking. There are a few countries there, Tempo, where you will be surprised growth will come in. There are smaller countries that will sometimes stay under the radar, because they are not Nigeria because of its size, it's not South Africa because of the riot and violence, because it's advanced, it's an industrialist economy, it's not Egypt, it's not Morocco, it's not Libya or Kenya. You find a few countries, Tempo, in West Africa, Senegal, the Gambia, Togo, Benin Republic, Sierra Leone, a few of these countries in on the West Coast. You go a little bit into Central Africa, Tempo. Don't write off countries such as Congo, DR Congo, and the rest of them. So, Rwanda, for example. So, the virus is out there and it's still a very strong enemy. But you'll be pleasantly surprised how things will go. You look at the North African Tempo. Despite the pandemic and all of that, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, Egypt, they seem to be working their way around the virus and its effect on largely hospitality, tourism, and the rest. And they're not really doing significantly bad if you put it that way. So if you average all of our strengths, all of our outputs together, I guess we might be able to come up with something not really negative, not so stellar in the manner of speaking, but not really in the water, by the way, at the end of the years, seriously speaking. South Africa is standing right now as the poster boy on the continent. The optics are not looking good. We are happy that between the soldiers and the police, the riots and all of that, the violence is beginning to subside as of yesterday evening. It's a whole pent-up anger temple against the ANC, the ruling party, against the government, against the lopsided financial inclusion, black empowerment, jobs in South Africa, 32.6, nearly 32.8% in terms of unemployment. It's all pent up. I spoke with one of the business executives yesterday evening. It's all about pent up anger over the last 10 to 12 years. So this is not just, they just find an outlet in Jacob Zuma. I think he was the one who just let the dogs out, or the dragon out, in the manner of speaking. So right now they got to deal with it. This is a socio-economic issue, Tempo, and it has a bit of a political colorations as well down there, a bit of ethnic, whatever. It's coming like a cocktail. And I think the earlier this diffused for South Africa, the better for this country, the better for the neighbors, the better for Africa as a whole. Because if we talk about industrialization and advancement, whatever on the continent, give it to South Africa. And if it spills over and it becomes the rest of the neighbors start sneezing or catching cold because of South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Zambia, the Malawi, and the rest, look, it's not going to bode well at all. So the earlier we all wish them well and do whatever we can to support Ramaphosa and the administration down there in Pretoria, the better. Standard Bank is in hot water in Mozambique, Tempo. The managing director of the Mozambican operations that have been removed is a Nigerian. The $4.6 million goes to him. Two other officials of the bank are fined. The optics not looking good there right now, but I think Standard Bank, being the largest bank in Africa with a whole lot of international operations, is trying to quickly manage the reputation and all of that there without. So it's what you call a containment currently going on before it becomes a bit of a virus. Lafarge reporting earnings in Zimbabwe, 68.5%. Don't worry, the industrial index in Zimbabwe, if you look at it, was about 0.65% yesterday on the stock exchange. So the industrial sector is really, really uptick in the Southern African country. And of course, Lucara Diamonds. If you have Karowe mine Tempo, I'm sure $220 million is not too much for you to raise up that production, to raise up production operations in that particular mining field. That's Diamond, by the way. We know what we're talking about.
Only if wishes were horses, huh? Interesting.
I know.
Let's switch gears now to the final stage, and that's the last leg, that's Northern African markets, where HSBC has just been named the best investment bank in Egypt, and that's by Euro money. Egypt's Daba nuclear plant delayed till 2030. Egypt's food delivery, El Minos, raises $10 million pre-Series C funding. Board of Arab Dairy okays 130 million Egyptian pounds capital raise. So you have the nuclear plants in Egypt now being delayed till 2030. Isn't that something related to the Sustainable Development Goals deadline of 2030?
No, I think it was related to the virus thing. I think folks who are to work on on the news, those folks who are to work on it, there are a whole lot of issues about the virus infestations. Fear thy neighbor. You don't know where the virus and the new variant really is. So everybody's trying to be really, really cautious, and that is it. So because of the virus has been pushed back by a couple of years. I think also with
Mm,
2025 or so, they moved forward by another 5 years. So let's see how it goes at the Daba nuclear plant. The food delivery guys, I saw a bit of this on the social media a couple of times on Twitter and before it was banned in Nigeria, then on LinkedIn. These guys with the blue pack around them on the bicycles. I see a couple of them also in Lagos with a different color, by the way. I think they're purple or something like that. But these blue guys, I call them the blue boys in Egypt, raising $10 million in pre-seed funding is quite seed money is quite good for them, by the way. And of course, the Euro Money magazine giving HSBC the best investment bank in Egypt. That's quite a whole lot. There are a whole lot of big names in Egypt's financial system space, by the way.
right.
And there are so many of them, Bank Maso. But when you talk about investment banking, HSBC has got it under its belt.
Mm.
Temple.
True. Thank you very much, Bosin, for all the analysis you've provided on these headlines coming out of Africa. Today, this Thursday, 15th of July, 2021. Bosin Abafaye is our executive editor here at Frontier Africa Reports. And on that note, we'll bring the show to a close this morning. Thank you for being a part of it. I'm Temple Ashaju. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.